We have an interesting phenomenon in this country where we have two candidates in the two different parties who are both surging, significantly so. One is on the Republican side and gets nonstop coverage. I know part of the reason why, and we do it too. He says such outrageous things that you have to talk about it. It's unbelievable. On the other side, though, we have Bernie Sanders, who's surging on the Democratic side. And who has looked into why that is happening? Where's the coverage on that? I believe the coverage is summarized in this audio clip. Perhaps some of the mainstream media folks don't want to know why he's surging. Because if you looked into it, you'd find out, hey, the guy has really reasonable positions that resonate with a significant portion of the country, and certainly a significant portion of the Democratic Party. Now, if he were saying crazy things, oh, the media would be all over it, right? But every once in a while they'll say he's a radical, or he's this or he's that, right? You'll see talk like that on Fox News, on MSNBC's Morning Joe program, and extremist is that. Really? What has he said that's extreme? Oh, right, nothing. In fact, the reason you're not covering him, if you were to give me a stated reason, you'd be like, oh, it's boring. He's just coming out with policy decisions. And apparently there's nothing radical at all. Otherwise, you guys would be foaming at the mouth. So now here's another position he just took today, which the majority of the country agrees with, an overwhelming majority of the Democratic Party agrees with, anyone with a mind agrees with, which is we have private prisons in this country. We have people make a buck off of putting people in jail. Well, then they get to contribute to politicians? Gee, I wonder how that's going to turn out. Yeah, that's going to turn out with the highest incarceration rate in the world, and that's exactly where we are. So today, Vermont Senator and Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders said that he will introduce legislation to abolish private prisons, one piece of his comprehensive racial justice reform package. But it doesn't have to be about racial justice, man. It's about justice for all Americans. If somebody's getting paid to put people in jail, they're going to put more people in jail. And I got news for you, if you're a white person, at some point they're going to run out of young black males to put in, and they're going to put in young white males, and then females, and on it goes, because they're getting paid for it. I like Bernie's approach. I'm not going to look at reforms. I'm going to end it. No more private prisons, done. Oh, that would be wonderful. Currently, 16% of federal prisoners are housed in private prisons. Unbelievable. Two largest prison corporations, GEO Group and Corrections Corporation of America, together take in $3.3 billion in annual revenue, and the industry doubled in size between 2000 and 2010. And they brag about it. Oh, we doubled in size. Now, you make sneakers. Hey, you sold twice as many Nikes. Congratulations to you. You make burgers. Hey, you sold twice as many burgers. Oh, fantastic. What do you guys make? Oh, we make prisoners. And we doubled in size. Business is good. We're making billions of dollars. How'd you do that? Oh, perhaps some donations to politicians might have a role in this. So let's go to those facts. The National Institute on Money and Politics found that GEO contributed $6,051,178 to Republican, Democratic, and third-party candidates over the past 13 years. GEO and Corrections Corporation of America together have spent nearly $25 million on lobbying efforts since 1989. Now, does anyone believe they did that out of the goodness of their heart? Do you think the good folks, the Corrections Corporation of America, think, what's a good charity? What's a good way to use our money? We can give it to impoverished families, needy children. No, we could arrest those. Those would be a lot better. Oh, I got it. Let's give it to a politician. That would be the charitable thing to do. No, they're looking for return on investment. You give these politicians a little bit of money, the great majority of them, with one obvious exception, okay, the guy who came up with this policy position, you give it them money, and what do they give you in return? Oh, we need more private prisons in my state. Yeah, that's what I need. And you know what? Those private prisons, they need more prisoners. We'll get to that in a second as well. A recent report, in fact, you're right, it's right here. A recent report found that private prison corporations spent $11 million over 6 years to lobby Congress to keep immigrants in detention centers. So it isn't just about let's build more prisons. It's give me more prisoners. How am I going to get more prisoners? Goddamn illegal immigrants. You see what they're doing? You see how they're all rapists and criminals, right? Gimme. Let's put them all in prison. Oh, look at that. I made a couple more $1 billion. $11 million to the politicians. All of a sudden, the politicians, oh, the undocumented immigrants, illegal aliens. What are we going to do? Get tough on them. Put them in prison. Give me the money. We legalize bribery in this country, man. Those are the guys who should be in prison. The ones taking the bribes from the prisons in the first place. Black Americans are imprisoned at 6 times the rate of whites. Sanders notes on his campaign website, and if the trend continues, 1 in 4 black males born today can expect to spend time in prison. 1 in 4, man. Now, you know, racists look at that and go, oh, well, I guess they're committing crime at 6 times the rate. No, I tell you, man, I talked to former Baltimore police officers. They said if we're in white areas, we don't arrest people because it's rich, it's powerful. It could be the judge's son. We're not going to arrest them. We literally go into black neighborhoods and just arrest people. Another Baltimore cop, Joe Crystal, I just did the interview with him. Check it out for yourself. Listen to them. Actually open up your ears and listen to these former cops. Joe Crystal's still a cop, but in a different place in Florida now. He says, yeah, we were told we got quotas. You got to make arrests. It doesn't matter if they're the right guy or the wrong guy. And then they say crime's out of control. What do we need to do? Arrest more people. No, you need to arrest the right people. But you're not going to know who the right people are. If you don't have cooperation from the community, you're not going to get cooperation from the community if you keep treating them like they're the bad guys and that you're an occupying force. And you keep feeding the private prison system with more prisoners. Of course they don't trust you. You get paid to sell them down the river, literally in this case. So Bernie Sanders on his website says, it is morally repugnant and a national tragedy that we have privatized prisons all over America. In my view, corporations should not be allowed to make a profit by building more jails and keeping more Americans behind bars. It's the most obvious thing in the world. At this point, a lot of real conservatives across the country also agree. They say, well, what are we wasting all of our money imprisoning these people for? That's taxpayer dollars. And then you're making a buck off of it, and you're putting in a margin on top of that, and then you're doing crony capitalism and paying off the local politicians so they'll send you more prisoners with our taxpayer dollars? Yeah, that's what's happening. Conservatives, liberals, moderates, you got to realize you got to unite. Because it's not us versus each other, man. It's the establishment. It's the moneyed interests, it's the lobbyists, it's the donors united against us, whether it's Bernie Sanders or someone else. And look, there are other people who are against private prisons, and some, even believe it or not, local Republican figures now finally against private prisons, okay? That trend is finally just beginning, right? Then get behind those guys, because this is insane to make a buck off of imprisoning your fellow citizens. It's the exact opposite of freedom and what this country is supposed to stand for. And Bernie Sanders says it is immoral to take campaign contributions from the private prison industry or its lobbyists. It is obviously morally repugnant, right? By the way, who does that? Many of the candidates, including Marco Rubio on the Republican side, has taken $40,000 from these corporations. And shockingly, it turns out he believes we should build more prisons and we need to get tough on crime. It's a good position to get paid for. By the way, it's not just Republicans. Hillary Clinton has called for an end to mass incarceration, but she also receives significant financial contributions from lobbyists for 2 major private prison corporations. So she's generic, oh, mass incarceration, I'm kind of against it. Are you going to end the private prison system? No. That seems like a radical position. No, it is perfectly mainstream, and that's why Bernie Sanders is surging, because he has positions that Americans actually love once they find out about it.